Hello everyone, my name is Ian and I have type 1 diabetes. Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about carb counting, pizza, and a bad diabetes day. So to start off, I have been carb counting now for about 2 weeks, and it has created a drastic difference in my blood glucose numbers, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I started out on a 15 carb ratio, which means I find out how many carbs are in the meal I'm going to eat, and I divide it by 15 to find out how many units I'm going to take. It has created a drastic difference in my blood glucose levels, although almost too drastic. So when I was on the slider scale, I was having a lot of high numbers. I just wasn't getting enough insulin. Now with this carb ratio, I've been getting just a little bit too much insulin. I get really good numbers for a while, and then after about 3 hours after a meal, I start to drop. And so I've had a lot of lows the last 2 weeks, which if you're diabetic, you know that lows are kind of scarier than highs. With a high, you can go into ketoacidosis and get really sick. If you go low, you could slip into a coma or die and just not even, see it coming. So I've had a lot of lows. It mainly happens when I go to work. As some of you know, based off my first video, I work at UPS, which is a slightly more physically exerting job. And that physical exertion causes me to burn through my blood glucose a lot faster than if I were to be at like a sit-down job. And so when I'm at work, my blood glucose levels are going really low. I was seeing a lot of 50s and 60s and having to correct it throughout the night and just monitor it really closely. So because of all these lows, I decided to tweak my carb ratio just a little bit. I decided to adjust it from a 15 to an 18. With an 18 carb ratio, most of the time and most of the meals that I eat, it changes my insulin intake by about 1 unit. So I'm taking 1 unit less generally than I was before. And that has made an even better difference. I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 days now, and it has helped a lot. I still have some lows at work, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of just really hard for me to avoid unless I go into work with a, like a 250 PG, because it drops and drops and drops. So I just have to bring granola bars, protein bars. I have glucose tablets. Sometimes I carry like an Airhead or something like that with me to kind of help bring myself back up. And I just have to monitor it really closely, which is unfortunate, but that's just the reality of the disease. So with this carb counting, I have been also eating a lot better than I was before. When I first got diagnosed, I guess I kind of saw it as I can never eat what I want again. And so I kind of went balls to the wall eating junk food. I was having Taco Bell like 4 times a week, and I was just eating a lot of crap. And that was also part of the reason why my numbers were so high, because my slider scale wasn't built for eating garbage. My slider scale was fine-tuned for what a normal human being should eat, and I wasn't eating like a normal human being. So I changed my diet, and I have been eating normal again. I've been eating a lot healthier, and that's also created a huge difference in my numbers and my insulin intake. But because I've been doing so good for the last 2 weeks and my numbers have been so solid, I decided, hey, what the hell, I'll treat myself tonight. And last night I had pizza. And I am super excited about this because I had my first successful pizza meal as a type 1 diabetic. I'm gonna explain to you how that kind of happened. It was really kind of the luck of the draw, to be honest. So I did some research on what people do when they want to eat pizza as a type 1 diabetic. And I saw a lot of things where people were taking, they calculate their insulin dosage based off the carbs and stuff like that, and they would do half when they first eat the pizza and then half an hour later. So I was like, I'm gonna try that. That seems like a good idea. Just because pizza has so much grease and fat and carbs and protein, it takes a long time for that to really break down in your system. So if you're just giving yourself all your insulin at once, you're kind of burning a hole through it, dropping yourself super low, and then all that stuff kind of kicks back in and you just go back up. And so I was like, I'll try that. Unfortunately, I ordered from a little kind of mom and pop shop here in Cheney, pizza place, and they don't have the nutritional information like on their website or anything, and you can't find them on like Calorie King or MyFitnessPal or anything like that. So I just based my carb counting based off of a Domino's pizza. And so I figured out that I would do about 2 units per slice. Now, that was also a thing that I saw a lot of people online was they're like, oh yeah, just do 2 units a slice. That works for me. And I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot. And then I got this pizza and it was 10 slices and I was pretty hungry. I was planning on eating the whole pizza to myself. I didn't have all 10 slices. I only had 7. I overestimated my ability to eat. But when I took into consideration my calculation for insulin, I did it for 10 slices. And that's at 2 units a slice, that is 20 units of insulin. That is a lot. The most I'd ever taken before was 9, and that was when I had a really high BG, like my first week as a diabetic. So I took 10 units when I first started eating the meal. And I ate my 7 pieces, and I was like, okay, now I'll only take 4 units an hour from now, since I didn't eat the full 10. I'll only take 4 units. So I waited an hour, I set a timer, waited an hour, came back, I tested my BG, and I was only at like 150. I was like, okay, you know, that's kind of low to be taking another 4 units right now. So I decided I would wait another hour, because most doctors say that, you know, your Humalog, your bolus works for about 2 hours as your body's processing the food. So I was like, I'll wait another hour, test my BG, see where we're at. So I waited an hour. I was at 114 after that. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take any more insulin. The 10 units was enough. I miscalculated. So at this point, I was about to go to bed. And 114 is not where I like to be when I go to bed, because I don't have a CGM. So if I go low in the middle of the night, I have no way of knowing. And that can be really dangerous. So I generally like to go to bed at around a 200 BG just to make me feel more safe until I have a CGM or something to help me monitor and wake me up if I go low or go really high. So I went ahead and I took 2 glucose tablets. That's 8 grams of glucose. And I went to bed, slept fine, woke up at about 120, which I think was very good. Wake up at 120. So I did over calculate on the insulin a little bit, but overall it was pretty good. I didn't skyrocket, and I consider that a win. So last thing we're gonna talk about today is a bad diabetes day. Yesterday, I had a bad diabetes day before the pizza. I was at work. Well, let me start from the beginning. I left for work. I didn't have any more granola bars or protein bars on me, so I was like, I'll stop at the gas station on the way to work, pick up some protein bars, we'll be good. I get to the gas station, I forgot my wallet. And I was like, crap. Well, I got my glucose tablets. I carry those on me everywhere I go. Hopefully that'll be able to get me through the night. So I go to work, and turns out I had too much insulin with my lunch. So when I got to work, I was at like a 105, which for a physically exerting job like I work, that is way too low. I am going to plummet like that. So literally within the first 20 minutes of work, I was low. I was at like a 60, and which isn't super low. It's not crazy alarming low, but it's low, and it's enough to make you feel the symptoms and be really, really uncomfortable and make things really hard to work. And it was just gonna drop faster and faster and faster. So I took 2 glucose tablets. That brought me back up for a little while, and then 20 minutes later, boom, down again. And it was just boom, 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 low after low after low. It was just this roller coaster of blood glucose levels, and it was miserable. I could not get myself up and stay up. And I finally was like, I need to double check my bag. Maybe I forgot a Snickers bar or a granola bar or something in the bag, something that will help me get through this night. Because I, at this point, had run out of blood glucose tablets, or not blood glucose, but glucose tablets. I checked my bag, and thank the Lord, I had gone to the dentist earlier that morning, and they didn't want to operate on me on an empty stomach, so they gave me a Cliff Bar. I ate half of it and shoved it in my bag. So there was half of a Cliff Bar waiting for me, just sitting there. And oh my goodness, was that the lifesaver that I needed. I was so relieved when I found that Cliff Bar in there. It changed the whole night. I ate that Cliff Bar. It got me to like a 150, and it kept me there for the last hour and a half that I was at work, and that was awesome. I'm definitely gonna go with Cliff Bars from now on. I didn't do Cliff Bars before. I was doing the Gatorade protein bars, which worked pretty well, but they didn't last as long. So I don't know exactly what the difference between the Cliff Bars and the Gatorade bars was. But the Cliff Bar, it got me up and it helped maintain me, and it finally leveled out my horrible night. And that's the first bad diabetes day that I've had since being diagnosed. I have never had that much of a roller coaster of blood glucose levels. It was kind of scary at one point. There was one point where I was feeling so weak, I was like, I think I might pass out. And that's when I decided, like, I have to double check my bag. And if not, I need to start going around to all of my coworkers and like finding if any of them have any kind of food or snack with them that I can eat. Or I'm gonna have to go home. I'm gonna have to tip out of work early, stop at a gas station and get something. So bad night. The pizza topped it off, made it all better, but just terrible night. But I feel good now, knowing that I can eat pizza. Not that I'm gonna make that a normal thing. Obviously, something that difficult to manage with diabetes is not something you should be having a lot. But when I'm having a really good week, I decided I can reward myself. I can do that. I know how to do it now. I know how much insulin I should take, and that's awesome. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching these videos and supporting me. If you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'm gonna have more content coming out for you, and I'm having so much fun doing this, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.